Bug outs. Everybody's focused on bug outs because bug outs are sexy and interesting. Nobody's focused on staying at home and making the community function after a disaster. But transportation in Grid Down won't be your Toyota Highliner, no matter how much gas you save up. It's just not going to be functional within days to weeks to actually drive around in a major SHTF. So you've got a few choices. If you have access to horses, that's a really good thing to have, and they would be great barter items for huge amounts of stuff. But a bicycle, the common garden bicycle, will serve you very well in Grid Down. Now in some areas where there's very few bicycles owned, they will become a target in of themselves because people will see the utility and want them. So be careful with bikes. So what do you need for a Grid Down bike? Given the fact that you may have to use it for transporting heavy items, you may have to travel a long way. Now traditionally what people have said is put the baby carriage on the back of it. Now I'm not a great fan of that at all. That will really slow you down, that will really make you at risk from attack. It's a huge thing to shove on the back of a bike, and bikes really aren't designed to carry that type of a load. Now a small child that weighs 40-50 pounds, fair enough. So we sent two of our bikes to the Shire because we're going to be up there and we're going to use them, and we had the neighbour's bike and my original bike which is being repaired. So Kitty decided that she needed a new bike, so I got her a new bike, and there's going to be a video at the end of this showing the new bike. That video is a little bit out of focus because Kitty's not the greatest camera person, but we are working on that. And then there is an in-focus video of Kitty driving away. Now what you need in a bug out bike, in my opinion, is you need it not to be camouflaged. You don't need it to be screaming tactical. I really don't see the point to that. You don't want to have it so covered in gear that you could never leave it alone, because literally everything's there. You need to have a bike that fits you, that fits your frame, with an adjustable seat in case other people need to use it. An adjustable seat that you can adjust. A lot of cheap bikes, it's very difficult to do that. You need to have a bike pump. You need to have a couple of inner tubes, and you need to have a few basic bike gear levers and stuff like that to help with the process of keeping the bike in good condition. You also need to have a bike that's pricey and expensive enough that the stuff won't rot after the first season. We have a tradition in Canada called the Canadian Tire Bike, which is good for one season, because by the end of the season, by the beginning of the next season, it's rusted. So if you can save up and get it the best bike you can get, don't make it an overly complicated bike. Mountain bikes are great, and I think if you use mountain bikes as a hobby now, I would go with a mountain bike. We do not, so we do not have a mountain bike. We also did not get bikes with solid rubber tubes for various reasons. Changing the inner tube is fairly straightforward. Now in a prolonged Grid Down after years, that might run into problems because the rubber in the inner tube will rot, and so storing them is going to be okay to a certain point. That aside, so you need a bike that fits your frame, that you can comfortably ride, that doesn't scream tactical, that you can carry equipment on. So the bike that we got for Kitty, though it doesn't have it yet, will have two, not shopping bag panniers, but panniers on the back, and also the little box pannier on the top of the rack. Now all three of them can just be hooked off and removed. What we would do is we would have a lightweight backpack that we would wear that would only have possibly maybe the sleeping bag in it or something very light. So if we had to abandon the bike, or we had to leave the bike and then travel for a while, and we didn't want to leave the stuff in the panniers, we'd be able to use those two backpacks for that. So we have a method of transportation that can carry reasonable amounts of gear reasonably fast. Now even with problems on the road, the hybrid type bike that we have handles non-asphalt roads very well, and it handles hills very well, because all of them have 21 gears. Now I'm of the proponent of I almost never shift gears. I just tough it up the hill and push down the hill as fast as I can. Kitty uses her gears a heck of a lot, so her gears have to be good, they have to be reliable, because gear changing and fixing is kind of an art form if you've never done it. The other thing that we did with Kitty's bike, which is new to me and maybe not to you, is that the air pump actually fits to the frame and the lock also fits to the frame. Now bike locks only stop good kind people from stealing the bike. Professional bike thieves can go through professional bike thieves can go through any lock they want in a matter of seconds. So security of the bike is going to be a big deal in grid down. The other thing with the bike is that the bike should be kept in a dryish area. You should never be leaving bikes on balconies or outside the garage. Once you've finished your bike, put it in the garage, put it in the shed, do it all the time. Now how far can you go on a bike? Reasonably trained, I've been from Toronto to Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is about probably just over 100 miles in one day. That's pretty reasonable. You should be able to get 50 to 100 miles per day on fairly not great roads on a bicycle. So obviously if you travel away from home on business, having access to a bicycle all the time, even a small foldable one, would be a great advantage in a grid down situation if you weren't anywhere near your home. You can travel with the panniers with dehydrated food. This is where dehydrated food and MREs would come into play, I believe, in an SHTF event, with water filtration and maybe a couple of small water pumps and a basic tent and a basic sleeping bag. You can and a maps, paper maps, and a compass, possibly too, and you should be able to travel quite some distance on a bicycle. Now, the key thing for me in a bug out is, and I keep saying this and nobody believes me because they think I'm crazy, but I would be traveling at night. I would not be traveling during the day. As soon as conditions warranted it, in my opinion, as being insecure, I want to travel at night. So my bike doesn't need lights because there's going to be no motorized traffic on the road. A simple flashlight like this, and I've used these, or even a simple headlamp. Battery's flat. Change that today. So a simple flashlight or a simple headlamp will be more than adequate for most night travel on most roads in SHTF. You don't need any artificial light at all. You can actually train yourself to see bumps and dips in the road because of the level of darkness in the road, and there's usually adequate moonlight and sunlight. So I don't want to travel during the day when people are up and about looking for help, looking for prey. I'm going to travel at night. So you need to know the routes, you need to know where you're going. So that being said, what else would you add on a bicycle? You'll notice that we have bells. I think they're absolutely essential before grid down to let people know you're coming around a blind corner. I can't believe people still ride bikes without them. And you'll also notice that we wear helmets. We wear helmets all the time. We both work in a trauma hospital. Kitty still works in the ICU, and I used to. There are significant numbers of adults, trained, fit, strong adults, who get hit by cars or hit by other bikes every year, fly off the bike, and become vegetables or die. Simply put, if you're on a bicycle without a helmet, you're a complete idiot. When you get smashed and die, or you're become a vegetable, it's your family that has to suffer. Put a helmet on. I've seen a lot of people around with the kids have got helmets on and the adults cycling with them don't have helmets. It doesn't matter how slow you are or where you are actually cycling. A car or a motorbike, anything can hit you from behind or hit you from the side, and you will fly through the air, and the chances are you will land on your head. Anyway, public service announcement over. Out of focus video, and then some pictures interspersed with the video and some description, so you'll see what we actually put on Kitty's bike, and then Kitty will cycle off into the distance. Have a great day.
Okay.
So it has an adjustable seat, so I can ride it as well. It's going to have panniers here, here and here for shopping experience. Have a little look at this. This is where the lock goes, fits onto the frame itself. kind of cool. And the pump also fits onto the frame. Ergonomic handles, 21 gears, and now you're all set to go. Good luck.